Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Good morning, sir. You Anthony Lamar Young,
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
here with your lawyer, Mr. John Bush. You're charged with carrying a concealed weapon. It's alleged that on or about September 9th of 2023, you were in the village of Mendon and you had a pistol in your Dodge Charger. Mr. Josh Robert, the Chief Assistant Prosecutor, is here, and you're here with your lawyer, Mr. John Bush. This is a pattern of cases we've been having the last several years where young people have got guns in their cars. Mr. Robert, what's the plea offer here?
The offer is for the defendant to plead to disturbing the peace with forfeiture of the firearm.
You were taking the unlawful transport, but this one isn't one of those.
Correct.
Well, you obviously know more about it than I do, so pretty generous plea offer, Mr. Young. It's a misdemeanor. Disturbing the peace is punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. It doesn't show as an assaultive offense. The gun is going to be forfeited. I can't tell from this affidavit what it was.
Was a Glock pistol.
It was a Glock 48, Your Honor.
Wonderful. All right. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And you've executed a waiver of your advice of rights, so there won't be a trial. You're from Jackson?
Yes, sir.
How'd you happen to be in Mendon that day?
Well, we have a wedding down here. My fiance's brother got married in Three Rivers, so we were down here for the wedding.
All right, who was that?
His name's Brandon. His last name's Smith.
Okay.
I've only met him one time, so.
How'd you happen to get stopped in Mendon?
Honestly, I wasn't even told what I was stopped for. I was just driving home. We were on our way back home, and I got pulled over. So we stopped at the Shell gas station and pulled over, and then he asked me about a firearm in the car. I told him yeah, and where it was, and had the magazine out of it. It was trigger locked and everything like that. So he just took it and then let me go.
The police report indicates he was stopped for speeding, 67 and a 55.
It's easy to get stopped for speeding in Mendon as you're headed west and as you're headed east. You come into the city limits in the 67. It's a 55 anyway, but especially if you're not from Mendon. So you're blasting down a 55 at 67 and ended up with this. So he didn't take you into custody, he just took your gun?
Yes, sir.
Now, often the guns are loaded. There's one in the chamber. This one had no magazine in it.
I had the magazine out of it, and it had a trigger lock on it as well.
Or maybe I see why the prosecutor did what they did.
I was gonna say, yeah, when I left the firing range, he said that would have been legal because I had my CPL class today scheduled after that. And he said that would have been fine if I had a trigger lock on it and the magazine was removed. So I figured that it was okay.
What kind of car was it?
My Dodge Charger. I was in my Dodge
yeah, that's
Charger.
right. Put it in the trunk. If you get your CPL, you'll be in a better situation. And now I understand why Mr. O'Bear did what he did, but this is an expensive gun, about $600.
Mm.
Well,
$580 to be exact.
Mr. Bush, anything to add?
I do believe that he will secure a concealed permit. I don't believe this offense is going to affect that. It's an expensive lesson, but he appears to be a responsible gun owner.
Yeah, I understand now. As I said, the prosecutor always knows more than the judge. This carries a $75 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee, $150 attorney fee, which is $350. The guns and ammo are to be destroyed. again, several months ago, someone sent me an article from the New York Times or somewhere where the Michigan city, I won't name it, had a gun buyback. They were buying guns and then they were selling them. But these guns that get forfeited go to the state police and they get ground up. It wasn't always that way, but it is now. All right, lesson learned. Don't go 67 through Mendon unless you're left from Mendon. And even then, don't do it. And put your gun in the trunk. But once you get your CPL,
Is there a due date on his fines and cautions?
yes, there is. We'll get to that here. Thank you, Mr. Bush. Can you pay that within 30 days?
Yes, sir.
We'll make it due by the end of June. June 29, 28. About $1,000 hit between the gun, ammo, and the fine.
Getting lectured by my mom was the worst, so it's okay.
Did you go to jail at all?
Yeah, I turned myself in. It happened like 11 months ago, and then the state police came to my house, so I had a warrant. But I was the only one home with my daughters at the time.
Did
so
you
they told
do
me,
a day in jail?
Yes, sir.
1 day credit, 1 day. All right, sir, you're good to go.